Hi folks, Dave with DBSTechTalk. Today we're going to do a comparison between three Hifiman planar magnetic headphones. And those are the Edition XX, the 560, and the 4xx. Let's try that again. Hi folks, Dave with DBSTechTalk, and today we're going to do a comparison between three Hifiman planar magnetic headphones, and they are the HE560, the HE560, and the Edition XX. Two of these are collaborations between Massdrop and Hifiman, and those are the Edition XX and the HE4xx. Links will be down below to the original reviews and any other comparisons that have been done with these headphones. And also links will be down below for any gear that is listed, whether it be amps, cables, or the such. This comparison is between these three headphones and these three headphones only. And all thoughts and opinions were formulated in my noggin and were not impacted by any other person's opinion, or I have not also been tampered with. Nobody has provided me any incentives to say negatives or positives in regards to these for some other reason. Everything is my own. This has been a fun time trying to get this comparison going and having some computer issues and camera issues and all that. Okay, so anyway, coffee. We will do the negative first. There is really only one negative, and that is cables. You would think that for three headphones that are in three totally different price points, that the cables would get better as you climb the ladder of price. Not so fast. This is a very unique situation. So the 4xx comes in at $180, the 560 comes in at $300, and the Edition XX comes in at $600. The cable that you get with the 4xx is what I would call meh, but usable. It is rubber, nothing spectacular, pretty straightforward. It tangles a little bit, doesn't really ever truly straighten out, but it is all right. And just bear in mind that the new editions of the HE4xx have 3.5 millimeters. Also, any other Hifiman product that is of newer that uses that type of setup will have 3.5s. The cable for the 560 is extremely nice. This is actually highly recommended. I would not replace this. The cable itself is of a fabric build, very nice and quality feeling. Again, you have your 3.5s. It is a little bit on the stiff side, but it does straighten out, and it's about 6 foot long. Do not have a problem with it, and you get two of them. You get a single-ended and a balanced version. So you get very good quality cable with the 560. Would highly recommend this cable. Have not swapped it out. The cable for the Edition XX, well, if we go based off of price point, you would think it would be a whole lot better and nicer, but no. It is a pile of trash. Do not even take it out of the box. Do not even consider it. Throw it in the trash immediately. This thing is a disaster. It's medical tubing of some sort feel. It's short. It's ugly and flimsy. Doesn't straighten out. It is terrible. So I recommend that you go to Dyson Audio and you get yourself a Helix cable. Very nicely braided, very soft, very good quality, has a nice little heat shrink wrap. Well, not shrink wrap. Anyways, it's wrapped at the split, whatever you want to call that, heat shrink, and then it goes into a very nice fabric split marked L&R. Get yourself a little adapter so you go from female 4-pin to 1/4 inch, and then you can just take your 4-pin at the end, plug it in, and you can go from XLR to 1/4. Or you can go to Periap cable and get yourself a nice Periap cable that you can also get either in single-ended or XLR. Comes in a plethora of colors. There you go. Rant is over. Hopefully. Build quality. Now here's where you get a little bit of price point difference and improvement. So the 4xx, you get the Hifiman original headband, which is fairly decently built. You get metal rod and metal yokes, plastic cups, and this weird grayish blue matte feel. It's okay. The headband it's all right. You can feel a little bit of, it's lacking in padding just a little bit. And when it goes on the head, I can get pressure points right here and right here. Just if it had just a little bit more padding on it, be a little bit more comfortable. Also, it comes with the Focus A pad, which I am not a fan of. It is velour, and it's also a little shallow, so I can feel my ears touching the driver at times. It's just not my favorite pad. If you can change it out, I highly recommend it. Deconi down in the description below is my preference for it. Overall, though, for $180, it's not a bad feeling headphone. It does have a little bit of clamp force, and again has those pressure points. The 560 is definitely a step up from the 4xx. You get same plastic cups, but these feel a little bit better quality. And the headband itself is all metal steel. It feels a lot more durable, and minus the little orange bits on it, it's high quality. The suspension strap does a really good job of leveling out the clamp force, and I do not get any pressure points on top of my head. I find these to be extremely comfortable. They do come with the Focus A pad on them. I changed it out and I went with Deconi fenestrated sheepskins, and I find that those are extremely comfy and do not change sonically. I just find it to be a whole lot more comfortable, and I do not have any drivers touching my ears. A whole lot deeper on the pad. Then you go to the Edition XX, and again you get the Hifiman original headband, but it has a couple of different things about it. For one, the padding feels thicker, and that's a plus. And then also right here, your end caps feel a little more durable, and they slide a whole lot better. On the 4xx, those sliders are really, really hard to move, and on the Edition XX, it's a lot better. You get your plastic cups, but they feel very high quality, and then you get your aluminum grill, and the pads, of course you do rotate, the pads are fabric. So instead of the velour feel, which I do not care for, you get fabric, which I am a big fan of and truly love. And they're thick, and they're lush, and they're super wide, so your ears do not touch a thing, and they just sit on your head, and you can adjust accordingly to sound. Do look like something out of Star Trek, though. So there is definite improvement in quality of build materials and in quality of comfort and design in the price points. Not that any one of them is terribly built, but you can definitely feel the difference in quality. One advantage that the 4xx and the Edition XX have over the 560 is that the cups do swivel a little bit. The 560 does not have that wiggle room, so some may have an issue with it sealing properly on their head. Clamp force wise, the 4xx is the most with the clamp. The 560 has the least amount of clamp, and then the Edition XX has the perfect amount of clamp for my head. And I do not get those pressure points like I did on the 4xx. Design wise, it's up to you what you like. Personally, for me, I prefer the look of the Edition XX, and then the 4xx, and then the 560. I don't like the orange bits on there. It's just a little too flashy, and I don't really care for the gray cup. I would prefer it to be all black or not as shiny. Maybe a color like the Edition XX is, with the black being a little bit more subtle. Personal preference, you may differ. Sound-wise, they go from warm, slightly warm, to somewhat bright. So you get a choice of what you prefer, and then there is differences between details and soundstage and quality of sound and tonality. Let's break it all down. So for the bass, the 4xx has a bass that is full-bodied, thumpy, and impactful with some good details, but it is rolled off. You do not really get that sub-bass rumble. It does not extend super well, and it kind of merges together mid-bass and upper bass. There's separation, but it's not the best separation available out there. And it does bleed into the mids just a little bit. There's a little bit of a warmer hint to it that kind of goes into the mids. The 560 is a very linear sound, so you get deep extension, sub bass, mid bass, and upper bass, but it's pretty much a flat across the board. And so you get nice impact and nice details and clarity, but it's not a real impactful, thumpy, you're gonna really hear it. It reaches deep, and you can hear, you can get the details, but it's not as enjoyable and as fun as the 4xx is. The Edition X, on the other hand, you get deeper sub bass than you do on the 560, and you get nice impact and thump and just a fun enjoyment out of it, but it's clean and clear. It's just like the 560, only better in details and in clarity, but also you get that fun impactness of the 4xx. The sub bass, mid bass, and upper bass are all very well separated out and do not bleed anywhere into each other. And there's good isolation and separation in instruments, and it's just a very enjoyable bass. This would actually be a bass head headphone if you enjoy your bass to have good details and clarity and a thump. If you're looking for just a thump and the everything to be kind of just headbanging, then you're probably going to lean a little bit more towards the 4xx. It's a little warmer and full-bodied. But the Edition XX has a good body to it, good tone to it, and very good details and clarity with a good rumble and impact. The mids, all three of them are slightly stepped back, but also full-bodied at the same time. They're not recessed too far, but they do take a little slight step back from the bass and also from the treble. But it gives them like a full-body sound and like a slightly intimate more sound to the three of them. The 4xx is the warmest and most romantic, but it does lack in details and in clarity. Has good tone and sounds natural. It's just not as clean and clear as the other two. The 560 is definitely a step up from the 4xx in the mids. Tonality wise, it sounds better. It sounds more natural, and also in just overall clarity and in details, you can pull more out of the mids on the 560 than you can the 4xx. But it does have a brighter tint to it and does sound a little thinner and not as full-bodied as the 4xx. The Edition XX kind of takes a little bit of both of those headphones and combines it together, so you get a nice full-body sound that is not as warm as the 4xx, but not as thin and bright sounding as the 560, and it's just a more natural, enjoyable sound with extremely good, clean, clear separation, and it really isolates out each individual sound. So if you have like vocals playing and you have a bass, a baritone, and a couple of tenors singing, you can clearly hear each individual clean and clear on the Edition XX. And on the 560, the Edition XX will sound a little bit more natural and full-bodied. And the 4XX will kind of lump them together, so you will get baritone and bass together and then a couple of tenors together. You can't really break apart each individual singing. The treble wise, the 4XX is very laid back and very mellow. And at times the treble, even though it extends decently, it just sounds like it's pinched off. It's not quite there. It lacks the energy and the clarity and details that sometimes you would wish that you could get. It does improve if you run it unbalanced and give it a little extra power. It brings out a little bit more of those dynamics and a little bit more clarity in the treble. But for the most part, it's a little bit on the grainy side and tends to be a little lackluster in energy. The 560 is the energy master of the three. It is a brighter sound. It is very effortless in what it does, and it extends extremely well. And it has really good air and crispness to it. It has a little bit of edge, but it never steps over the cliff, so to speak. It never becomes shouty or sibilant, but it definitely is more energetic of the three. The Edition XX, just like it does with the mids, kind of merges the two together, and it's a very laid back, very chill sounding treble that's very smooth and effortless, but at the same time, it extends extremely well and has really good details and clarity in the treble. It's a very beautiful sounding treble that gives you all the details, isolations, and separations that you desire, and has really nice air in it. And it is, at the same time, laid back like the 4XX, but you get all the details and clarity in a little better way versus the 560. Soundstage, all three of them are extremely wide. I wouldn't say that they're massively wide, but they definitely are planar wide and open wide. The 4XX does a good job with imaging and details, but it is a very direct headphone. It's right, center, left. You don't really get the spaces filled in between. It's I'm over here, I'm here, and I'm here. It does a decent job of pinpointing within those sections, but it does box it off. Also, details are not as clean and clear as the other two, but it's not lacking in details. You're not going to miss out on anything. It's just not as clean as the others. The 560, because of the brighter signature and more clinical sound that it has and analytical sound that it has, tends to be gives more details and sounds like it has a little bit more air and details within the soundstage, and you don't miss out on gaps. It's not sectioned off. It's a smooth transition all the way across your stage. And it does a decent job of portraying layering, but it doesn't really do heights and depths and behind your head and everything, but you do get things floating in front of you. And the 560 is very good at pinpointing. So if it's like I am left center, it's right here. It's not I'm on the left, it's I'm right here. And so it's very good at pinpointing exactly where the sound is coming from. The Edition XX does better with height and depth and getting things coming from behind your head and on top of your head and all around. And if you have things that are fading in or fading out, they stick with you longer and you can track it farther along. And I really enjoy that aspect of it. The soundstage is just very immersive and very you just engaging. You just have things floating around your head. But it doesn't do precision as well as the 560. It's it'll say I'm over here in left center a little bit. You know it's over there, you just don't know exactly where it is, like on the 560. How do they pair with the gear that I currently have? The Monolith THX AAA 788 by Monoprice, it works with all three. All three of them sound extremely well, single-ended or balanced. The 560 does require more power, so I recommend that you use that balanced and drive it. It drives up very well, sounds very clean, very clear, and you get good dynamics. If you use it on single-ended, you don't get quite as much power in, and those headphones will sound a little dull and even a little sharp at times and sibilant in the treble areas. The Geshelli stack works with them, but it's kind of hit or miss. You have to be careful what gain setting you have for the outputs from the DAC going into the Arcle. It just depends on the headphone, but most of the time medium gain was what you had to use or else you get distortion. And on the 560 and on the 4xx, medium gain didn't have quite enough volume to really get loud. It was just okay, and it didn't really drive the 560 to sound as dynamic and as clear as it can be. The Edition XX worked very well on it, but just be careful of the gain setting. The APPJ PA1502A is a tube amp. I don't really recommend using that with a planar, even though it sounds okay. Do be careful on that with the impedance problems, or that can be caused with using a full tube amp. The Cavelli gear here, the CTH and the LCX, both work extremely well with all three headphones. I highly recommend it. I really like just the way that the CTH adds just a little bit of the tubey sound to it, and then it opens up the soundstage and the clarity, and it's just a very nice mellowed out sound for it. The LCX, make sure you use it on balanced only. Works extremely well, has plenty of power for the 560, and it powers it extremely well, and you really get that nice full dynamics that you can get out of the 560. And with just the slight warmer touch that you get out of a Cavelli amp, it tones down that brightness just enough that it really becomes a nice and smooth sound for the 560. The AU stack, didn't really care for it too much with the Edition XX. The 560, it was okay, but it doesn't drive it to its full potential in dynamics. And the 4xx is a good match. Does make it a little dark at times. Overall, it just kind of depends on what you're looking for when it comes to headphone. If you just want to be a beginner into the planar world, the 4xx is a very good introduction. In my opinion, it is the best value for an open planar that you can get at $180, and you just can't beat that value. The 560 is a step up, but you are changing sound signatures. You're going from a warmer sound signature to a more clinical, analytical, bright sound. And then the Edition XX is a step up from both of those in that it is a balance between the two as far as warmness and tonality, but you get better details, better clarity, and way better dynamics, and a very unique and interesting soundstage. Do I recommend all three? Absolutely. They are a little amp dependent. Do keep that in mind. And one thing I did forget to mention is that when it comes to portable use, the Edition XX runs well on any portable amp DAP that I used. I used the Pioneer XDP30R, the Cyan N3, and the Hifiman Mega Mini, and it worked on all three, powered to very well, to good volume and good sound. The HE560 does work on DAPs, but it does require a little bit of power, so you might need an external portable amplifier to help it out, push it a little bit. The 560, I couldn't get it to sound good on anything that was portable. It just requires a lot more power to sound good, and it just didn't work very well. The best matchup that I found, though, was with the Pioneer XDP30R. It just has a better sound, especially with the Edition XX. That is my favorite DAP currently. So overall, what are you looking for? Are you looking for just a warm, fun introduction into planar, or are you looking for or just a basic planar headphone? That would be the 4xx. If you're looking for something more clean, clear, analytical, and more detailed with some brightness to it, the 560. And if you're just looking for an overall chill, detailed, fun headphone that is just easy on the ears and just awesome, the Edition XX. This has been Dave with DBS Tech Talk. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you on the next video.